Happy Friday. Hi,
Happy
Audra.
Friday. Hi, good morning. It's the second January or second Friday in
Friday.
January. Yep. Still not quite in the rhythm yet, but I'll get there, I promise.
Oh, I know. I know you will. I know you're a little bit thrown off because last night was your very first invitation to a bunco club,
Yeah.
and you made
Yes.
all of the amateur mistakes.
I sh I sh
So
I sure did. I accidentally won, and I didn't know I wasn't supposed to.
she won, and she didn't bring snacks.
I I didn't know the rules. No one tells me. They said, "Would you like to sub?" Sure. I don't know how to play. I show up, there's so much food. And I won. No one tells me the rules. No one I don't know. I'm never coming back ever again.
No one's calling you. No one's going to be returning your
No, my
calls.
phone's not ringing. I had so much fun. They're gonna be like, "I hope you had a lot of fun. You're never coming back because
Don't
it's
let the
not."
door hit you on the way out, Audra.
No, because this is a closed door club. That
Yeah.
was your one and only invitation. Bye.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to be here for Friday Wins Live, and Audra, we have a killer guest today, with
Yeah, she's
a
so cool.
strategy that works for landing a new position. She's proof positive of that, and
Absolutely.
we are excited to have her.
Yeah, she's gonna share step by step what she did, the good, the bad, the ugly. She is not going to gatekeep, as the kids say. Um, she's amazing, and
Yeah.
she's here to tell us all, to give us the encouragement because she's walked the walk, uh, and she's in everybody's shoes. So we're excited for everyone to meet her.
Yes, and I want to say before we bring her out, um, and Jill's making fun of your bunco
Yeah.
mistakes. Um, but I want to say before we bring our guest out that our our ideas and strategies about LinkedIn and how to use it to land your next role have changed dramatically in the past year.
Yes.
Um, just at the beginning of 2025, the things that we were talking about were still pretty old fashioned. You set your search up to find the right jobs for you and blah, 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 blah. And then you apply on LinkedIn. All that is broken. It doesn't work. Many of you have learned that over the past year along with us. It's a strategy that maybe worked 10 years ago, but it's over now.
Yeah.
And there's a new way to do things, and we have proof positive that that new way works. So we're
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah. That's an
Okay, so
act that's an act of futility, and it's a great way to make yourself feel really bad.
100% because you're going to be out there every day applying for jobs like a maniac. No one's ever going to see your resume. You're not going to get the return calls, and you're going to be left wondering, it's me. What's wrong with me?
It's not you.
No.
It's not you.
Um, it's the process that doesn't work anymore. And it just leaves you feeling terrible with zero self confidence at the time when you need to have the most confidence when you're out there looking. So, okay, we're excited.
Yeah.
All right. So, our guest today is Lynn Tarantino. I'm going to add her here. We'll put her in the hot
Mm.
seat. Hi, Lynn. Happy
Hi,
Friday.
ladies. Happy
Good
Friday.
morning.
How are you? Good morning or good afternoon. I'm not sure. Yeah, well, I'm East Coast, so we're just entering the afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for joining us and telling us about your journey.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm really excited for this podcast. And first I want to thank you both. This is so important, and what you do is so valuable. So thank you for inviting me. And I just want to extend another thank you to the both of you for everything that you do for everyone out there.
Oh, you are more than
Yeah.
welcome. Thank you for being a part of it. And you contribute just as much to this community, and we're so happy to have you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Jen Linus says continual learning is key. New year, new strategies.
Yeah.
Amen, sister. This is a
Mhm.
completely different strategy, and it worked really well. Okay, so we'll get into it. You ready to get into it?
I am ready.
Okay. When you decided to look for a new role, before you did anything strategic, like before resumes or conversations or anything, you gave yourself permission to breathe. What shifted for you in that pause? And why was that step non-negotiable in your strategy?
Yeah, so I was listening to you while I was backstage, and I'm gonna sort of start by saying I did not do that the first 2 weeks, um, after I left my role. I was what I'll call in basketball a full court press. It was doing everything that you both of you ladies just spoke about. It was, finding that company that's going to help me enhance my resume, my LinkedIn profile as quickly as possible, getting on with them. How do I utilize, all of the positions that are being posted on all these sites? How many recruiters do I have to reach out to? I mean, it was full court press, 8 hours a day. And by the end of the second week, I was physically exhausted and stressed out. And so I did not follow what everyone had sort of been telling me, which was give yourself time, give yourself permission. I did not do any of that. I completely, if anyone knows me, I tend to not go, follow the path that everybody tells me. And I was like, I know how to do this. And that proved to be exhausting and completely debilitating. And I'm very lucky in my life to be surrounded by, a phenomenal husband and some great friends. And I always say, make sure your circle are the people who are going to lift you and bring you up. And they turned to me and they said, Lynn, what are you doing? It's the fall. It's the most beautiful time of the year. The leaves are changing, and you're sitting behind your computer, completely stressed out. Why are you not doing some of the things that you know are going to make you happy? My family is a big, golf family. And for the longest time, I had so many individuals asking me, hey, come out and play with us. We would love for you to play. And my answer would always be, I can't, I'm working. And so I decided the third week to just go and do that. I was going to focus on, really going to a gym. I had been working out a lot at home. I was going to go to a gym. I was going to try and join that community. I was going to go out, I was going to play golf, and I was going to join that community. And it was really hard. I'd come home and then I'd be typing away. But I think similar to how a habit begins to form, I really started to let go. And really, one week turned into another week, turned into another week. And I was really focusing on, what made me happy and spending less time sort of navigating the ways in which we all try to search for jobs. And while I was doing that, I was building other relationships through other communities. So it really gave me some time, and 1 week turned into 2 weeks, turned into 3 weeks, turned into 4 weeks. And I was like, wow, I was in a much better place to now give myself permission to feel motivated to start looking for a role in a much different way than I had before. But if I hadn't given myself that space, I would have I would have not sort of changed the strategy or the way that I had started looking at things. So I think it's sort of stepping away, and it's hard, but if I believe if you kind of do it for a week, it starts to fold into another week and another week. And it really just allowed me to think about, I have the opportunity to start looking for a role that fits within the things that I want, as opposed to chasing jobs that are out there, that may not be the best fit for me the next round that I enter back into.
Okay, so when you were in that space and you weren't like reacting or grasping anymore, you started designing what you really wanted for yourself
Mm.
next. How did you separate what you truly wanted, what's really important to you, from what you'd been conditioned to
Yeah.
chase? How did you make that? No, this is for me, and that stuff doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's really so initially it was really hard. I I started going, okay, I've been in the compliance and risk space my whole career. So compliance and risk. And then I'm like, well, my list is really really short. It's boring. It's focusing on this area. What is it that if I had the opportunity to do, I would love to do? And so my list became things like, and I'm actually looking at my list as I'm talking to you, teaching, right? A teacher. It became a coach. I used to run track and field in college. It became a track and field coach. It became a nutritionist. It became an athletic director, right? I love sports. All these things that make me happy and interested. And I think the key word there is interested, right? It's almost like when you find a podcast, the podcast has to show interest in you. You have to show a desire or need to want to listen to something that will sort of change your view. Otherwise, you kind of lose interest in it. It's kind of like some of the TV shows we watch. So I kind of created this list and started really thinking about, God, this is what makes me happy. These are things that I would love to do. Now, knowing I don't necessarily have the education and the skill set in these areas to go into that technical avenue, but what I realized was I had this career of working in the financial services and building up my skill sets in these particular areas. And everyone, who I would interview with would know that, right? I mean, that's what they see in your skill sets. But what were other things in these other things that I wrote down that told me about the kind of role that I was looking for. So, it really, when I sat back, it sort of told me two things. One was, I want to be in a role where I have the ability to help others grow themselves, right? That was that sort of coaching aspect. I want to be in a position where I have a team. I have a team of individuals who I can grow in their career development. I can help empower, I can pay it forward. So that piece was really, really important to me. And then some of the other pieces really told me that, you know, the footprint of the type of role that I'm looking for is really, really important. So, you know, some of the things for, non-negotiable were I didn't want to be on a plane every week traveling away, right? I wanted to make sure that I had time for my family to be around them. I have two 14-year-old boy twins who are very, very involved in sports. And I also wanted to make sure that, I'm nearing mid-age, right? And I wanted to make sure that I was taking care of myself so that I could be there for all those remainder years that are out there. And so it just gave me a sense of, it's not just about the skill sets that you have that you've created over the years. Obviously, they're important. But when I started looking at other jobs that enticed me, there were aspects of those jobs that I could bring into a role. And it may not be a direct line, but indirectly, it sort of told me those are things that would make me happy in the next role that I took on. So I was taking it from a different angle, and I wasn't looking at job roles and specifics, line by line. Do I have this? Do I have this? Do I have this? I was really looking at it much more broadly.
Well, my Oklahomie, Rolanda, says, we have the same list. Former track runner and sports lover. Hi,
Awesome.
Rolanda.
That's awesome.
Lynn, you said a couple of things that just stood out to me, and you were saying in your list, you said a couple of key words. You said interesting, enticing, growth. Uh, those were some key words that just stood out to me. I thought that's really intriguing to me that you used those specific words when you were creating your list.
Yeah. I think for me, I spent, listen, I'm not gonna lie, I did everything the wrong way in the beginning, and it really was not fulfilling at all.
Mm.
And sometimes I think you have to fail in order to realize how you uh change your way of thinking. And so I started looking at it very, very differently. If I now have the ability to write my story for my next chapter, I want to make sure I'm checking the boxes of all the things that are going to make me happy in that role that I take on. as opposed to looking at it just from job descriptions and so forth. I wasn't really, I turned away from focusing on that. Those hours of like looking at the JD and matching and checking AI and making sure that there was alignment. I threw all of that away because it was
Mm.
maddening to me.
Well, you know what? If they can rewrite the rules, why can't we?
100%. 100%.
Yeah. Okay, so you didn't just send your resume out to all the job postings. Instead, you built your list of what you really wanted. So you're describing what alignment really looked like. And then you built a targeted list
Mhm,
of companies that you felt
mhm.
hit that. So when what were the signals you used to decide, like whenever you were looking at the firms that might meet your dream list, what made you decide, okay, this company stays on the list. This one, nah, I'm not going, not for me.
Yeah, great question. So, I knew I came to the realization that I really wanted to go back into banking. I wanted to be a part of that community, be a part of the myriad of products and services that are out there. But also, I loved community banking. That was something that, gets the service side, the giving back side. So I really took a stab and said, okay, what kind of bank am I looking for? Is it a community bank? Is it a mid-size? Is it a large bank? What's really within my footprint, right? My footprint was really, really important to me. I wasn't going to select a bank that's headquartered in California per se. So what are the banks? And I really landed on, I was really a little bit more targeted to the mid-size within my own footprint. And once I had that list, I really started doing a couple of things. I started, I'm a compliance geek. I'm a compliance background, right? So for those of you who know what the Community Reinvestment Act is, those reports give a lot of information about the banks. They give a lot of information about the company. And so I started doing some research there. It talks a lot about intuitively the culture. I started looking at the board makeups. I started looking at the executive committee makeups. I started obviously looking at what most people do, the reviews that are out there. I also tapped into my network. So, I have a great network in the American Bankers Association, being involved with them for so long. So I started sort of tapping into, okay, who do I know there? Who do they know at those banks? And just kind of creating some lineages, because my goal was to kind of find a way to reach out and get to parties within my space to at least see if I could engage in a conversation. And that conversation didn't necessarily have to be, I'm looking for a job, right? It was more relationship oriented. It was more getting to know the bank itself and its footprint, and just getting a sense of whether, what I'm hearing is something that, aligned to the interests that I had written down. So that's sort of the strategy that I took. It absolutely wasn't going to the to be honest, I did not go to LinkedIn and look at that institution right away and look at their job openings. That is not what I did initially. I got to know the company a little bit more through research and just through discussions with my network, to figure out whether it was a place that kind of checked some of the needs. Because culture fit for me was a tremendous priority first.
Okay, so I know uniquely in your path, a lot of women in Athena's council are doing this the same step, which is consulting for the company to see, it's like a test out. So you consulted and then made your decision based on alignment and not pressure. So you chose the relationship. How did trusting your headspace, and I know we talked, that's a very brave thing to do. How did trusting yourself and your list of priorities change the way that you kind of went through that process?
Yeah, I mean, in full transparency, I had some offers that I turned down. And that was, I remember turning them down and getting off the phone and going, I think I just made a mistake. Um, but they didn't meet, one of them didn't meet my footprint, location wise, and they were, fantastic companies. But I had this like sick feeling. But at the end of the day, I went back to my list and I'm like, but that's what's important to me. And I'm not caving on that. And so, I think for me, the opportunity that I have now, I built relationships with individuals there where the opportunity to sort of come in and consult first presented itself. And I know that doesn't always happen, but for me, it was amazing because they got to, I was really on an extended interview, if you think about it, but it was also an opportunity for me to see full hand what the culture was like before I entered knee deep in when the opportunity came out. So I think that was just a phenomenal way of really figuring out fit, and really figuring out, is this the place that I want to go next, and really um, dive in and spend, what maybe, now through the end of my career with. So having that opportunity was really great, but it was hard because the other opportunities came before that and I walked away from them. But I kept on going back to my original list in terms of what was important to me. And, I think I was telling someone, like, I almost caved. I almost caved on the travel. But then I knew that would have had a huge impact on, me and my family. And I didn't want it. I didn't want to do that.
Well, congrats. We were talking about this, like, standing strong in the face of uncertainty, taking that risk and really betting on yourself.
Yeah.
And I was trying to think of a word for it, and Audra nailed it earlier.
Yeah.
She's like, it's grit.
Yeah.
It's grit. So, congrats to you for
Thank you.
having that,
Thank
um,
you.
and it
Thank you.
really paying off. Okay. Um, Okay, for somebody who is still scrolling job boards, and many people watching may be looking for their next role and they're scrolling job boards, they've got their LinkedIn filters set up to get these postings. What what's the reframe that you would recommend? How do they shift their thinking to building their own list and then going after the companies that meet those requirements?
I think spending time away from doing that is important, because it's ingrained in all of us that that's the most important. And to be honest with you, I thought it was, and when I wasn't seeing the return, I realized it wasn't. And so really sort of forcing yourself to shift and just approach it from a different angle. I just think it's so much healthier because in one case you're chasing and the other case you're leading. It's within your control. And I think that shift is so important because then it's within your control to create what you want as opposed to just chasing, chasing, chasing every day.
That is a massive shift in strategy. I thank you for sharing it with us. And Suha says, "Hi everyone. She's late to the party, but she didn't want to miss this one." And I wouldn't either. This is a brand new strategy that many of us can use to get where we want to be. And so I really thank you for sharing it with us.
Mhm.
And if anybody has questions, drop them in the comments because we have more questions for Lynn and we'll take your questions too. Okay, so I have one more. In this, Audra and I have created a Spotify playlist of hype songs because when you're in this process of looking for a new role, you need all the hype that you can get just to pump yourself up. And so, Lynn, can you give us your go-to hype song, and we'll add it to our playlist?
So it's funny. I'm probably going to give you what I would put on, and then I'll give you what my family puts on whenever we're trying to like get psyched for something.
Okay.
So my hype song is probably Fall Out Boy, and it's Centuries. That's just something that resonates with me. You'll be remembered for centuries. You're leaving a footprint, you're leaving an impact. But ironically, my family would say, and I don't have a clue who sings this, which is really sad, but there is a song called, you always win, 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 no matter what. Right. So that is, and sometimes I'm like, well, guys, it's not all about winning, but that is absolutely the other hype song that is played a lot in my household.
I love that song too. It's called All I Do Is Win
There we go. There we
by
go.
DJ Khaled, and it's on my playlist. My family rolls their eyes whenever I put that on, but I love that song too.
Both
I'm
amazing
probably,
songs.
yeah. I'm probably the one in my family rolling my eyes when my kids are like, "Oh, we're gonna play this before a sporting event." I'm like, "Oh, geez, okay."
Yeah, Jill
What
says great song choice. I love it too. I love it too.
whatever gets you through.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so now, if anybody watching has questions about Lynn's strategy, just drop them in the comments. But Audra has some fast 5 questions that we did
I
not
have
tell Lynn
fast.
ahead of
I
time
have.
about.
Nope, we did
So
not do that. I have to get my fast 5. Give me a second, because
Now
my
I'm
fast.
now I'm nervous.
Oh, don't be nervous. Don't be
I'm just kidding.
nervous. They were inspired by our conversation yesterday.
Okay, awesome.
So
Awesome.
I wanted to put together some questions that are fun, but are thoughtful and intriguing, but are useful for not just you, but for everybody else listening. So, are you ready for the first one?
I am.
Okay. What's one thing you stopped doing that made everything else move faster?
Oh,
And not
did I lose
necessarily to
everybody?
your job, not to your job search, just to everything. So, do you hear me, Lynn?
Oh, hold on.
Did we lose Lynn?
I see
Molly,
her.
can you hear me?
Oh, hold
I can
on.
hear
I
you.
wonder, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay,
we can hear
perfect.
you.
I don't know what happened there. Sorry, I apologize.
Did you
Okay, can you hear me?
Did you hear the question? Yeah.
You know what? Hold on, guys.
That's what we love about live. We never know what's going to happen.
Give me 1 second.
It makes it fun.
There you go. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear
Okay,
you. Can
got
you
it.
hear
All
us
right,
okay?
roll.
Yep.
Okay. Rolling. All right, I'll repeat the question. What's one
Can you
thing
hear
you
me?
stopped doing? Oh, she's not hearing us
Why
at
can't
all.
you hear me?
Oh no.
I can hear you.
We can hear you too.
I just can't hear the questions.
Can you can hear me?
I don't think
Lynn,
she can hear you.
I can't hear Audra. No, I can't hear her.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
but you
Okay.
can't hear me.
Well, I'll ask the question.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
can hear you. Yep.
Okay.
That's weird that she can't hear me. That's
Okay,
odd. So
now
I'll say it.
okay.
So, what's one thing you stopped doing that made everything else move faster?
Lynn, what's one thing that you stopped doing that made everything else move faster?
Ooh. I think I stopped surrounding myself with people who weren't helping promote me on my journey. So I really focused on people who were positive, and just really started shying away from those who weren't really helping me along the way on the strategy and journey that I was deploying.
Excellent. And Cecilia Rain, she posted a question for you. She said, did you do any outreach in person? While digital strategies are imperative, I still believe in shaking hands and making effort. It resonates with execs and leaders when someone literally shows up. So, how did that look for you?
Yeah, that is a fantastic and a brilliant question. So that is exactly what I did at the company that I landed with. I actually met them in person in Philadelphia. Drove out there, had several meetings with several individuals, and I 100% agree that that face-to-face interaction is so much more important. The other thing, as I spoke to some people, people were giving me tidbits like, "Oh, have you thought about," because I'm like, okay, I don't necessarily know that I can go to every conference or spend the money, but somebody had said to me, Lynn, you've graduated from, two great universities. Have you tapped into that network of alumni? They have great alumni networking events that are local. Have you tapped into that? And the sad part was I hadn't even thought about it, right? I should. That's like a huge network that I hadn't even thought about that could be done in person. So I 100% agree. If you have that opportunity to meet in person, that is absolutely the way to go.
Cool. Okay, Audra, what's your next fast five?
What makes your shoulders relax?
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, Lynn.
So
What?
so
Oh,
yeah.
you
So
heard it. Okay, good, good.
no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I can't
Oh,
hear her.
okay. So her question is, what makes your shoulders relax?
Ooh, that is a very good question. Um, Probably knowing that every day is when my head hits the pillow, it's going to be okay. I don't always have to achieve everything that I set out to do, but as long as, you know, I mean, I believe in karma and being kind. And I feel like as long as I've been a good person that day, I kind of can relax and sort of be okay with what is.
Good answer.
That is a major evolution step, Lynn. I applaud.
And
Good
it's
job.
I feel like I've learned so much through this journey that I wouldn't have, probably, 5 years ago I would have never had that response. But I feel like it's going to be okay. And I'm really, if you're a kind, I always tell my kids when they leave the house every day, be kind, be a good person, right? And I feel like that's so important, because at the end of the day, that's really what you want to be remembered for. So that makes me kind of relaxed.
That's wonderful. Okay, Audra, what you got?
What's one book that helped you reframe your career or your confidence when things felt uncertain?
Oh, good. Okay, what's one book that helped you reframe your career or your confidence when things felt uncertain?
Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits changed my complete way of thinking. I read the book about 5 years ago, and actually, I keep going back and reading it. But it just talks about, if you really want to invoke change, it has to become a habit. And how do you do that? And it is one of those books that you can read over and read over, and you keep learning more and more the more you read it. But that was foundationally a book that really changed me.
I have never read it, but I'm glad that you brought it up because it keeps popping up as a
Yeah.
recommendation in different ways for me, so I'm gonna go get on it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the hardest part, and this is about anything in life, right? The hardest part is getting to the point where it becomes a habit, where it's just a normal thing that you do. And then you invoke change. But if you can't get there, it never becomes a habit that really changes your life. And so that book for me has really been a. I've actually made, I'm not making, but I've recommended to my kids to read it, because I think, so much of what we do, I wish I had known 30 years ago. I think it would be instrumentally different. And quite frankly, for those of us who are going through, career changes, it would just be a different perspective right now. So I just believe any nuggets that I can give my kids that, I didn't necessarily have would be fantastic.
Amen. Amen.
Mm.
And Jen Linus, she has a comment here that says that your answer to the first question really resonates with her. When your head hits the pillow and you can be okay with what is.
100%. If you can, yeah, that's just, I feel like it's those days that I am so relaxed and, I go right to sleep.
Yeah. And then shout out to Audra because Suha says these are great, all caps, great questions. Okay, you got another one, Audra?
I do. Is there a podcast you're loving right now, besides mine, of course, that actually makes you think, not just consume?
Okay, we lost Lynn.
Oh, did we lose Lynn?
I'm
Well,
Lynn,
here.
come back.
Oh, she's
Uh,
there. Okay.
Okay. You want me
Sorry.
to repeat it? I'll repeat it again.
Okay. Okay.
Is
Yep,
there a
go ahead.
podcast you're loving right now that actually makes you think, not just consume?
Yeah, so I am completely down a rabbit hole um, with a podcast from an individual named Peter Attia. So it's Peter, Peter. His last name is Attia, Attia, and he is absolutely phenomenal. It's one of those podcasts where he's a Stanford medical sort of graduate, and his focus is very, very much on health span, lifespan, longevity. But I literally, it's the one podcast that I could sit down and listen to for hours. I listen to it in my car. I listen to it when I work out. He has a lot of segments on, just how to, look at longevity, look at health span, look at lifespan, which for me is something that's really important at my age. But he also has sections on happiness, gratitude. He's just, he just resonates with me so well. And so I listen to his podcasts diligently. I literally wait for them to come out every week. But there's just a tremendous amount, especially as women. He does a lot of women specific podcasts. And it's really, really good.
Okay. Peter Attia.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe
All
we
right.
should start to list a list of book recommendations and a list of podcast recommendations.
Yeah,
Would you guys
absolutely.
like that? Would you guys like those recommendation lists?
Yeah.
So let us know if you'd like that. As I'm just coming up with that on the fly. Lynn, can you hear me again? I'm assuming you can.
I can.
Okay. Technical difficulties that are live. They're so
I know.
fun to navigate.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's always an adventure when it's live. This is the last one, and this is probably my favorite one.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I am.
Finish this sentence. Freedom feels like.
Sorry, I'm just thinking of how I'm going to respond, so bear with me. Happiness, family, and longevity. Those would be the three things that I would say for me is just a sense of freedom.
I think most of us would agree. That's what freedom feels like.
Those are hard questions today, Audra.
They were good. Thank you for letting me think on the spot. Oof.
She inspired me. She said she wanted some challenging fast fives. She wanted some audience participation. So,
Yeah.
Lynn, those were for you.
No, it's good. Sometimes you wonder how you're going to respond or what words you're going to use on the fly. So that was good. That was good retrospective too.
So,
Good.
I mean, I could have asked you what your favorite taco was, but these were way more fun.
Yeah, and I would probably say everything because I'll literally eat every taco under the sun.
So it looks like the consensus is yes, they'd like a list of book recommendations and podcasts. So your wish is our command.
I'm a
That's
podcast
awesome.
junkie, so I would love that
Yeah,
too.
I would love that. I think there's always so many things to learn and so many people that I don't know out there. So yeah, that would be phenomenal.
Well, okay, I think we have taken way longer than we said we were going to of Lynn's
Yeah.
valuable time. And I just want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing this strategy that I think is going to work so much better for the women in our community than the old fashioned scrolling for job listings and being one
Agree.
of 3,000 applicants. It's over.
Agree. Agree. Yeah, I agree. I thank you guys for having me and starting to have everyone start thinking differently. And for everyone on the podcast, thank you for your great questions. And I love sharing different perspectives and hearing different perspectives of things that work and don't work. So thank you.
Well, congratulations on the tremendous work you did, your bravery, your grit, and your determination. So
Thank you.
congratulations. And thank you for being an example of what can be done and that it's possible.
Thank you. I
Congratulations,
appreciate that.
Lynn.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Happy Friday, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.